In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a lot of Halo Infinite news, such as that the public beta testing may not be happening, that the Halo Infinite demo was actually running on a PC. We're also going to get some brief information on the open world, the villain, and story details. So stick around. Now, the following information can be found over at IGN.com, and I will put the link in the description in case you guys are interested in taking a look at the article. Now, first, we're going to go ahead and check out the information on the Halo Infinite villain and story details. The information reads as follows. Halo Infinite takes place well after the ending of Halo 5 with a rampant Cortana nowhere in sight and the Master Chief adrift in space, and the E3 2019 presentation trailer, which 343 has reconfirmed, is the very beginning of the game. He then discovers him, and the pilot's name will be revealed during the course of the campaign. He ended up being named by the actor who plays him. Chief and the pilot are exactly the same position as the player when the game starts. Crocker said they don't know what's happened. They're learning what's happening together. Lee told us that the new Xbox Game Showcase demo takes place roughly 4 hours into the campaign, and he is said to be several times larger than the last two campaigns put together, referring to Halo 4 and 5. The Banished are the bad guys. Players fight the Banished in Infinite, a rogue faction of brutes, along with plenty of familiar Covenant elites and grunts too, who were prominently featured in Halo Wars 2. The team at 343 is quick to note that you won't need to have to play the 2017 real-time strategy game to feel comfortable in Infinite. It's not required reading, Crocker noted. Nor will you have to consume the comic books and novels of the larger Halo universe in order to understand what's going on in the game, a criticism of Halo 4 and 5 that 343 has acknowledged. We don't want a game where players have to do homework to enjoy this game. But why the Banished? Because they're super cool and everybody likes them, he said with a laugh, before more seriously adding that the team wanted to have something that's an evolution of the Covenant, so you get some of the familiar, but something that's different too, and it comes together for a fresh feel. It is both the conclusion to what has been to date known as the Forerunner saga, and it also sets a course for new stories. To that end, it is both the conclusion to what has been known as the Forerunner saga and it sets for new stories. The conclusion of the events have been set up in the past, but is very forward-looking as well, Crocker said. We want places to go with new mysteries, Lee added. It's setting the foundation for future storytelling as well as tying some of those threads from the past. You don't need to go through the whole franchise to learn to understand the fiction coming in, but if you do have that knowledge, we want to reward that. You'll see these extended universe elements and nostalgic moments. There have been a lot of goosebumps in the studio as we have finished different scenes and things that are in the game. Meet the villain, War Chief Eshram. Probably mispronounced that. As whether or not we should expect chattier Master Chief a la Halo 4 or a more strong and silent type performance from the veteran Spartan 117 actor Steve Downes a la Bungie's original trilogy, Crocker said it's probably somewhere in between. We are definitely leaning more towards the strong silent type, but there is quite a strong emotional core that involves him being a lot more vocal. The end of the demo showed a flashback sequence to which the UNSC Infinity Supercarrier, a centerpiece of the two previous games, blitz off the radar. So, was it destroyed? The simple answer to the question is that one of the things that Chief is having to discover during the game, Crocker explained. What you saw in the montage at the end was us setting the stage for the journey for the Chief and the pilot and what they've been going through. That ending sequence also introduced the villain of the story, Banished leader named War Chief Eshram, who is the leader of the Banished on this Halo ring and is connected to the Banished in a fundamental way. According to Crocker, and proclaims this Halo ring his last stand, knowing that Master Chief is coming for him. This is my last fight, a true test of legends. A story that will outlive us both, set a fire in your heart and bury your fangs and die well. That same speech also mentions the Harbinger. Neither Lee nor Crocker would say what that is referring to, besides confirming that it wasn't him referring to himself in the third person. So yeah, this is all very interesting. Halo 5 ending specifically on a cliffhanger, and the fact that they're picking up years after the ending of Halo 5. I'm wondering if there won't be some flashback sequences to explain what happened in between them, and maybe even some flashback sequences during what the campaign would have been for the Master Chief in Halo 5. I've always been interested in seeing the missing time that they didn't show us, so it's certainly going to be interesting when it comes to that. Now moving on to the next little bit of news. IGN spoke with the Halo Infinite studio head Chris Lee ahead of the long-awaited gameplay reveal at the Halo Infinite showcase, and during that conversation, Lee revealed that Infinite is the last standalone release for the franchise for the foreseeable future. Halo Infinite is the start of a platform for the future, he said. We want Infinite to grow over time versus going to those numbered titles and having that segmentation that we had before. It's really about creating Halo Infinite as the start of the next 10 years for Halo, oh boy, and then building up as we go with our fans and community. This does not mean that Halo Infinite is a live service game a la Destiny, but it does mean that the new story experiences will be told underneath Infinite's umbrella, and that it also means Infinite will be evolved technologically for quite a while. 343 confirmed that Infinite will get a free ray tracing update sometime after launch. Gameplay-wise, hopefully the move to Infinite as a platform won't mean that the players are trapped in this Halo ring forever, but we'll have to wait and see what 343 has in store for us in the Xbox Series X generation to find out. Now, this to me is just a very little bit concerning because we did see how that worked out with Destiny, where they had said Destiny was going to be a 10-year plan, and then they ended up releasing the sequels to Destiny, of course, and they've said that Destiny 3 is coming, but that is much further down the road than what they're doing with Destiny 2. Personally, I don't know. I'm kind of excited when I hear this type of stuff because that means that we're going to get a lot of time spent with one game. With the original releases from Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo 5, there was always a 3-year gap. And when you were nearing the end of that 3 years, especially if it was a Halo game that you really liked, personally, I kind of dreaded knowing that there was going to be a new game, even though I was excited, because I really wasn't ready to move on from the game that I had been playing. We still have yet to see the multiplayer, so once we get our eyes on the multiplayer, then that's going to be pretty telling, I think, on how much many people are going to be enjoying the game. And another thing that has a lot of people concerned, and myself included, is if they're going to be continuously updating Halo Infinite. They're going to hit a point like just recently where Destiny hit, where the game is just too big of a file size, and they're going to have to remove things. Because when it comes to the Xbox platform as of right now, each game has a memory limit. It has a storage limit. And another game that has been bumping up against that limit, of course, is the Call of Duty Modern Warfare with Warzone. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I would hate to have them take things out of the game so that they could put more things into the game. But I guess we're going to find out later on exactly how that all works out. Moving on to our next bit of news, Halo Infinite's planned beta testing may not happen. When announced in 2018, developer 343 said that they intended to run an early flighting program for Infinite in a similar way to how the community has been able to test early version and updates to Halo the MCC. In an updated post at the Halo Waypoint blog, Halo Infinite studio Chris Lee noted that the beta program for Infinite has been changed as the studio reacts to current circumstances. With Halo Infinite, we are committed to building a game in partnership with our community, but given the unprecedented challenges of this year, we're not quite where we expected to be in terms of the broader public flighting. Lee's statement reads, "While not the full program we had envisioned, we have been working very closely with the community on nearly every facet of the project. This means that we may not see as many public flights as the Halo Infinite via the Insider program as they approach the game's launch later this year. 343 could also shelve the program entirely if it doesn't fit with the studio's development schedule." Lee said that the team is indeed working and assessing options for a broader hands-on opportunities before launch, and 343 Industries will be sharing updates about potential public flights as they can. Lee does make clear that this process doesn't stop with launch. In fact, that many ways the feedback from the community flighting will be even more important after the launch as they partner together to continually evolve and update the game into the future. That fits with 343's wider plans, which place Infinite as something more like a platform for the future Halo content than a single game. The public flighting system was used extensively throughout the development of the MCC, and most recently the PC ports for the older games in the series. Essentially, because of the current world situation, it seems that the public flighting is more than likely canceled. This is something that I've been questioning for a little while. I brought up the fact that if they're going to want to do any type of public flighting and have any type of meaningful change being able to be implemented through development, that they would have had to have done it months ago at this point. What I'm expecting, if they do anything whatsoever, and I highly recommend that they do this, is to at least maybe a month or 2 weeks before the actual release, give us a multiplayer beta to stress test network servers and systems, because I can only imagine just how on fire the Halo community will become if they don't do that. This game comes out and the multiplayer just doesn't work. Now, moving on, the Halo Infinite demo was running a work in progress build, but it was also running on a PC as powerful as the Series X. In an interview with Inside Gaming, Xbox marketing GM Aaron Greenberg responded to criticisms about Halo Infinite's graphics, saying, "Listen, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. It's July. We're far from launch of holiday, and what you're seeing is a work in progress game." He continued by saying that the stream itself may be part of the response. It's very hard to show the full power and graphical fidelity of what the Series X will be able to deliver for you over a stream. Go back and look at it in 4K 60, referring to the fact that the stream was delivered in 1080p, but the gameplay premiere can be viewed in 4K 60 FPS on the Halo YouTube channel. That said, many have pointed to flat lighting and low-resolution textures in an official statement of the game, but Greenberg reiterated that the game's look will improve. The other thing to say is it's just fine with a work in progress, and I can tell you that because I see build checks every week, we make progress week after week, so now between the holiday, we're just going to get better and better. Some had wondered what hardware was being used to run the demo, given the game is coming to Xbox One, PC, and the Series X. In a Q&A, 343 Industries was told that the footage was captured from a PC that is representative of the experience that players will have on the Xbox Series X. Now, I myself personally didn't have many issues with the Halo Infinite gameplay demo, especially with the graphics. I understand that it is an in-progress game, and having flight tested a lot of the Halo games on PC, and of course on the Xbox One, and just previewing the demos and betas that even Bungie put out themselves, the finished product always looks way better than what the actual reveal or what the demo that you play looks like. Also, too, keep in mind, YouTube was having severe problems running the Xbox event stream. If you look at any of the other YouTube videos that are reacting to this, a lot of them are actually having a lot of problems with YouTube while watching the video. I myself, very early on in the stream, switched from watching it on YouTube over on Twitch, mainly because I could not get the stream to stream from YouTube in HD quality. Now, personally though, I would have actually liked to seen what it looked like running on the hardware instead of running it on a PC. I understand that it was an in-progress build, but I think that it's kind of disingenuous at an Xbox Series X gameplay event to show a video running on a PC instead of the Series X. And I know that they said that this PC was comparable to what the Series X will be. But honestly, from what I've experienced between PC gaming and the Xbox Series X and 4K, the 1440p 60 FPS on PC looks better than the full 4K on the Xbox One X. And I understand that there's definitely a hardware discrepancy. So at the Xbox event, I would have just liked to have seen what it would have looked like, at least as of the build right now, on the actual hardware, in order to know whether or not I should be making a decision about buying a Series X at launch or just sticking with my Xbox One X and playing between that and PC. But as always, don't forget, in order to be part of the conversation and have your voice heard, hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment in the section down below. I'm interested to know what you think of any of these news stories. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. I've got my social media, and support for the channel is there as well if that's something that you're into. But until next time, everyone, thank you all for joining me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next video.